Rosie, it's just Chill Baby Sleep here. I've got my littlest person, Lola, with me today, who's in the background. She's an absolute manic climber, so she's going to be moving around a little bit. I just wanted to have a quick chat about sleep training. Lots of people have been asking when is a good time to train my baby. And how old do they need to be? Is it safe, etc., etc. Now, I don't like the term sleep training. I think it sounds very regimented. It's got lots of negative connotations. It makes you think you're sending them off to some crazy like sleep school, and it's going to be really stressful. So I don't do sleep training as such. Well, I don't like to use that phrase. Anyway, I use the phrase sleep support. Now, sleep support can start from any age. It can be from newborn, it can be up to 5 years old. Now, sleep support is about creating the right environment for your child and making sure that you are supporting them, doing everything right in order to create the best conditions for their sleep. So this means making sure they don't get overtired, looking at your nap gaps, looking at length of naps, making sure they're not overtired or undertired. It's looking at everything. It's looking at nutrition. It's looking at exercise, development, seeing what their kind of personality is. This one's absolutely cracking. And she's really has a lot of energy to burn, so I need to make sure. We've been out this morning and she has to burn it off, and she's that kind of kid, really. So it depends on personality. A lot of people think sleep training is leaving to cry. That's why I don't like to use the term sleep training. Sometimes children are going to cry when you change things. Babies will cry. Also, let's not forget, babies can't speak yet, so they often cry to convey a message. That could be that they're hungry, it could be that they're tired. When we change a routine, if that's what's needed for you, then there may be some tears, but it doesn't mean necessarily that you can't support your baby. I've supported parents who co-sleep, who never leave their babies to cry, obviously because they're in the bed with them all the time, but some people again are different and they can't think of anything worse than having their baby in their bed all night. So yeah, it's levels of support. Sleep training doesn't have to be controlled crying. I think that's a common misconception when somebody asks. So in lots of the mums groups I'm on, often people will ask, can I sleep train my baby? And people instantly are like, no, leaving your baby to cry is going to damage them for the rest of their life. Well, that's not the case, because sleep training, it depends what you think that is, and that isn't necessarily leaving a baby to cry. It could be, you know, if you're happy to, it could be getting them to sleep in your arms. If you want to continue doing that, then there's no problem with that. If you do want your baby to sleep in their cot, then there's going to be different types of support. There might be a little bit of crying depending on their age, but like I said, I provide sleep support from newborn age. So clearly with the newborn, you don't let them cry, you're going to be feeding on demand, but you are wanting to create a good environment. So replicating the womb, for example, swaddling them perhaps, keeping the room dark, making sure they don't get overtired, and creating that good environment. A slightly older baby, like 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, when people start talking about regressions, which again is another term I don't like, because it's actually just them developing and progressing. It's not a regression. It shouldn't be seen as something negative. It's more a case that their sleep requirements change, their sleep cycles change, and they need different techniques to get off to sleep. Now, if you are happy feeding your baby through the night at 10 months old, no problem at all. There's no issue with that whatsoever. But if you come to me and say to me, Rosie, I'm up every half an hour, this is absolutely crackers, I've got 2 other children to look after and I'm just struggling, in that case you need to knock it on the head, and I would provide different techniques and sleep support to support that. With a 10-month-old, for example, I would be looking at nap gaps, I'd be looking at lengths of naps, times of naps, I'd be looking at nutrition, I'd be looking at development and exercise and health. Obviously with all babies, there's, you need to take into account health conditions. You need to look at if they've got reflux, managing their reflux so that they're comfortable to sleep effectively, because otherwise It's just nonsense. You can't be leaving a baby to cry who's in huge discomfort from acid burn in their throat, essentially. So, sleep trainers do have different approaches. So some of them might talk about sleep training, and there's nothing wrong with that, because it may be gentle, it may be very old-fashioned, I don't know. But with my technique, I pride myself on my flexibility. I am flexible depending on the family. So often people will say to me, what techniques do you use? Well, I use everything and anything, depending on the family. So it's all very personalised, but what I will always do is look at the whole picture. There is no point forcing a baby to nap who is undertired or overtired with no support. There is no point looking at just the sleep. It's with anything to do with health, you need to look at the whole picture. It would be the same for an adult who can't sleep. You don't just say, well, just go to sleep. There's going to be something, whether it's screen time, whether it's temperature of the room, whether it's what they've eaten. It's the same with children. We need to look at everything, even little babies. So yeah, sleep training, I don't like the term. It sounds like you're sending them off, packing them off to some kind of boarding school, and they're just going to be left to their own devices and they're going to have to learn this. No, that's not the case. Hence why I call it sleep support. And sleep support can be at any age, and it is transferable to any age. I cover up to age 5, but I am qualified to cover older children as well. And yeah, I just think it's fascinating, all the different techniques that are out there. I've heard of many of them. I've read all the books because it's in my interest to do so. So I don't think there's anything that I wouldn't have heard of, but I'm very open to hearing about things and learning things that somebody else might know about. So don't be alarmed if you hear the term sleep training. Dissect what it is, what it actually is. Is this just controlled crying without looking at anything else? In which case, it would perhaps be a bit foolish to just go headlong into that. However, if sleep training is for you and you think it's right for your family, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So I hope that's clarified a little bit. If anyone wants any help, sleep support from me, happy to provide it. If you have any questions or want me to clarify anything, do comment on this video. I think Lola's coming back now, so she might say bye. Are you going to say bye?
Bye.
Thanks, speak to you soon.